It's 7:30, so we're going to start. Want to ask everybody to make sure to keep yourself muted unless you have a question. Um, if there's let's see, I think Sully, I think you were on here. Are you on here, Sully? Um, if you don't mind keeping an eye on the chat, if you have a question, put it in the chat. You may get it answered there if I won't be able to see that necessarily. So, um, you know, if I don't get to it and nobody else answers it to your satisfaction, certainly, speak up. Last week, I wasn't really able to see people when they raised their hands if they weren't on my screen because my screen won't hold everybody. So last week we started with Rule 1, and we didn't get all the way through it, mostly because I also covered the new rules. So we're going to finish Rule 1, and then depending on how much time we have left, I have a couple of things that we might go over, or we might start on Rule 2. I'm leaning away from starting Rule 2 there, though I'd like to start it and do it as a standalone. So, if you would, everybody mute yourself and we'll get started. I want to thank the Alabama Sports Officials Foundation for giving us access to this platform. I have put my contact information in the chat, so if anybody ever needs to reach out to me outside of this call, you're certainly welcome to do so. Speak up, ask questions during the little training here, and also spread the word to your association at home, wherever that may be. At some point, I'd like everybody to put their name and what state they're from, or if they're in Alabama, put your name and what county, city, or association you're from. I just like to track where what all we're reaching. I am going to share my screen now and we will get started. It's going to take a second. Thank you, Mark, for telling me that you're with Greater Huntsville. You followed directions beautifully. All right. Let me know when that comes up because it doesn't show up on my screen the same as it does on yours.
We can see it now, Bill.
Okay. Well, you can see it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So if you do not have your 2025 rule book and case book yet, that's okay because what we're going over, there's not been a lot of it different, changed from 2024. So certainly feel free to use your 2024 books. I hope that you have those. So we finished off last week. We were talking about whether or not you can use a sticker or it has to be screen printed that it's a BB core bat on a non-wood bat. So next thing, we're going down to Article 3. Let's see here. Article 3 says that no foreign substance may be added to the surface of the bat beyond 18 inches from the end of the handle. That is one of the rule changes for this year. It specifies that so that one thing is it can't be of any color, even if it's clear, and it also applies to wood bats as well as metal bats. So it's really a clarification more than anything else. Article 4, only bats may be used in warming up, including weighted bats used for that purpose at any location. Only bats and items designed to remain part of the bat, such as weighted bats, donuts, and wound-resistant devices, are legal at any location. So you can't be out there swinging a pipe or a monkey wrench. I actually did have a guy one time had had a monkey wrench like from a oil rig or something. I mean, that joker had to weigh 30 pounds, and he would take that on deck with him. That is not legal. All right, so no artificial or intentional means shall be used. Looking at Article 5 now. No artificial or intentional means shall be used to control the temperature of the bat. That's a big one when we play in cold weather. Um, the That renders the bat illegal. So I had a situation where the uh, guy ground out, and the catcher was just being a nice kid, picked the bat up, was going to toss it over to the dugout, and he picked it up and goes, "Wow, feel of that! That thing's warm." And he was just laughing about it. He didn't know. And I grabbed it, and I'm like, "Yeah, it sure is." Well, that bat didn't get that warm by by accident. So the kid was already out. But the other part of that penalty is that the head coach is restricted to the dugout. So let's look at page 8 and 9 of our case book. Let's see here. Let's look at 135 B and C. All right, so the first baseman hits a home run with the bases emptying using a bat that, while otherwise legal, has a small crack in the barrel. Plate umpire notices a crack, A, as the batter enters the box, or B, when the defense complains before the next pitch that's an illegal bat. Ruling in A, the bat is illegal upon detection, as the head coach had verified that all equipment was legal. The first baseman is declared out, and the penalties of 413B are applied to the head coach. Rule 413B says that the head coach is restricted. In B, the home run stands. The bat will be removed from the game. If the same bat were subsequently to be used later in the game, it will be subject to the illegal bat rule. In the note, if the plate umpire feels the damage to the bat was done during the course of play during that game, the bat may be removed from the game and replaced with no penalty to the offense. If the same bat were subsequently used later in the game, it will be subject to the illegal bat rule. All right, so when does an illegal bat, when does a penalty apply? It's not that it's becoming illegal. If the illegal bat is detected before the batter gets in the box, then you simply remove the bat. Just tell them, hey, you can't use that bat. It's illegal. Go put it up. Put it away. Don't let anybody else bring it out here. And there's no penalty for it. If he steps in the box, he doesn't have to take a pitch, anything. If he just steps in the box with an illegal bat, he is out. He is never ejected. He is always out. The batter is always out. The head coach is always restricted. Well, penalized. He is restricted the first time. If there's a second occurrence of stepping in the box with an illegal bat, he is ejected. Once he's ejected, you've got to have a new head coach. If a third illegal bat instance occurs, then that acting head coach is ejected. He doesn't get the benefit of being restricted, because by golly, if we've gotten to the third illegal bat, we've got to do something to get control of this. But that, it's not common to have an illegal bat come into play. I mean, a broken bat. Most batters aren't going to want to hit with a broken bat. It's not going to do them any good. If there's a chance, that note that I read, if there's a chance that happened during that at bat, like he fouls one off, and then he comes back and picks up the bat, or the catcher picks up the bat and says, "Hey, this bat's cracked." Benefit of the doubt. Say, "Hey, your bat's broken. Go get a new one." If he says, no, I'm going to use it, no, you can't. It's illegal. Go get a new one. So, if there's a chance that it could, but if he's just stepped into the box and hasn't even taken a swing yet, then he stepped in the box with an illegal bat. You do have some discretion if he steps in the box and he looks down and goes, oh crap, there's a crack in my bat. He's not trying to use it. He just didn't realize it until he got there. If it's in the fifth inning, that could have happened in a previous at bat. If it's in the first inning, maybe not. But we're not out there looking to throw bats out and restrict coaches. Just know what to do when you get it. The real key to it is to know that when you have an illegal bat situation, to know that the batter is out, the head coach is restricted. If you have a second instance, the batter is out, head coach is ejected. And then the third instance, batter is out and acting head coach is ejected. But yeah, it's never a never the batter getting ejected. Eric, I just saw you log in. You may be in the wrong meeting. This is the high school meeting. If you are trying to get to the JUCO meeting, you need to look at look for the email that Brian Clark sent a day or two ago. Go Epic. All right. So let's look at situation C, talking about the win count.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Hypothetically, batter number one is in the box, gets a hit, singles, whatever. Second batter comes up, picks up the same bat. Going to use the same bat. He steps in the box.
Yeah, that's a very, very plausible scenario.
So at that point, that's whenever you notice it's illegal or the catcher questions it or the coach questions it. So now you've got one on, one in the box. So you got two violations. Another pitch has not been thrown, so therefore the batter that's in the field on the base, he would be subject to being called out, as well as the batter that is in the box being called out, and the coach.
Well, the coach would get restricted either way.
Correct.
But yes, you could go that route. That's kind of the nuclear option. But let's look again at the note at the bottom of the casebook play on page 8, if you're looking in your 25 book. Anyway, it's the note at the bottom of 135 situation B. If the plate umpire feels that the damage to the bat was done during the course of play during that game. It doesn't say during the course of play by that batter or anything. In your scenario, which is plausible, it's realistic to think that damage happened when the guy that's standing on first hit the ball.
I'm not talking about a damaged bat. I'm talking about an illegal bat, one that doesn't have the BB core, or one that is illegal.
Okay.
I'm just talking about illegal bat, not a damaged bat.
Yeah. Damaged bat would render it illegal, but okay, I see what you're saying now. Obviously the BB core did not apply to that's not something that happened during the course of play.
Right. You're talking about a damaged bat. I'm talking about an illegal bat. Yeah. Several years ago, back right around COVID, just before COVID, just after COVID, they had that Easton Ghost bat that was illegal.
Yeah. All right. Somebody's got some parakeets or something going. So that was an illegal bat when they arrived at the ballpark. So no sympathy for that. In which case, I'm probably not going to get both guys out. I'm probably going to get the guy that's on first because he used it, and that's the most penalty. I'm going to say, hey, that was an illegal bat. You're out. So I take a runner off the bases, and I get an out, and then I'm throwing that bat out and not letting anybody else use it.
So the batter number 2 gets a freebie, even though the coach is gone. The previous batter is out. The second batter that picked up the illegal bat and got in the box, he's going to get a freebie.
Well, under the way that I am suggesting that I would handle it, but this is going to fall under. Oops, I'm looking in the wrong book. This is
Rule number 10. Rule number 10. Whatever's not covered, the umpire can make a judgment.
Yeah, you knew exactly where I was going. It's good to be the king rule. I think it's 10. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Anyway, but you know which rule I'm talking about. So
Yep.
there's a rule in high school ball, in college ball, and in professional baseball, all very similar, that says each umpire has authority to rule in any manner they see fit on anything that is not directly covered in these rules. And so that's not directly covered in the rules, where you've got two guys back to back using the same illegal bat. The guy that's on first has not been legalized or anything like that, like you would with batting out of order. So I would personally, I would just get the guy that was on base and put the coach in the dugout.
Okay.
Ginty, you got a question?
If you don't mind, part B to your situation B, where the home run is hit and then the illegal bat is questioned by the team. Following that, it said the home run stands. Is that because we can't assume that the damage occurred prior to the home run?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If he hit the ball, there is a possibility that damage happened during the course of play, which is what the note addresses.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now, if you pick that bat up and it looks like somebody has attacked it with a hammer, it's got dents all over it. I mean, again, use your judgment. I don't know that I would try to take it that far, but we're talking about extreme cases here, so don't go too far off on it. All right, let's look at situation C. Talking about the end cap. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. B6 hits a home run while B6 is circling the bases. F2 hands the bat to the umpire in chief to examine the barrel. It's discovered the bat's end cap has been removed and the bat has been stuffed with ping pong balls. Again, that did not happen during playing action. So, yes, he will be out and the head coach removed. And and that in that case, if it was a home run, let's say he, it was in this scenario, he hit a home run. So in that case, we are going to, apply the penalties. Whereas in a normal home run and you pick up the bat and you see a crack in it, you're not going to apply the penalty because that could have happened in the course of the playing action. But yeah, ping pong balls didn't just jump in there while he was swinging the bat. So that ain't gonna fly. That is no bueno. But the other thing that I think we have a real issue with is heating the bats, which does alter the temperature, obviously, and affords a benefit. So you can't hold it up against a heater or anything. I got a question after the last week's call about what if they just, if they're cold, they're standing in the dugout and they just, put it up under their shirt or their coat or whatever, and they're just hugging on it. I'm not going to penalize them for that. If they want to hug that icicle up against their body, then so be it. They're not using an artificial means. They're not putting a heater on there. I've seen all sorts of things. I saw one intrepid dad built a bat rack with a heat lamp in the bottom of it, so everybody's bats just went down in there and stayed nice and toasty. Unfortunately, it rendered every one of those bats illegal. Um, the there I have seen a device being advertised this year that is like a giant koozie for the bat. I guess you microwave it or something anyway, and you put your bat in it to keep it warm. Again, that's an illegal. Kudos to the inventor who's trying to market that. Unfortunately, he doesn't realize that it's rendering the bat illegal. Um, but if you see that, just go ahead and address it and tell them, might as well get rid of it because you can't use it. Um, all right. All right. Article 6, gloves and mitts. I want to point out that everywhere that you see glove, mitt in the rules, I won't say every place, but most, they may have missed one or two, but most places where you see that, it will say glove/mitts. In high school baseball, there is no distinction made between a glove and a mitt. You can wear a catcher's mitt or a first baseman's mitt to pitch, to play center field, to play shortstop. It is not illegal. Wherever you want to, you can wear it wherever you want. So if you have a coach who complains that the most common thing would be a first baseman's mitt in the outfield. If that happens, it is not illegal. So if the opposing coach comes up and tries to protest that, then it's not illegal. So anyway, what is kind of nitpicky in my opinion, the glove mitt worn by the pitcher that includes the colors white and gray shall be removed from the game upon discovery by either team and or umpire. Every other code says that the pitcher's glove may not contain the colors white or gray exclusive of piping. High school ball does not say exclusive of piping. The piping is down each finger. There's typically a stitched part, and it's about a 1/16 of an inch wide. Of I don't know. Most of the leather goes this way. The piping goes this way. If that makes any sense to anybody. And in some gloves, it'll be white. That is a booger that I'm not going to pick. If that's the only white that's on that glove, I don't see how that is distracting to anybody. But if the opposing coach wants me to, complains about it, by rule, it is illegal. If that's the only piping on there, I'm going to tell the kid, hey, look, man, I don't care, but he's complaining about it. By rule, you can't have it. Just go get you another glove. Don't let it rattle you. And then anything that I see the team do from the coach who complained, I'm gonna be using a microscope to look at anything that they've done, because they're just being jerks trying to mess with the pitcher, get in his head. So if that's the way they want to work the game, okay, I can be petty. If they get a little bit out of line, I'll be all over them. All right, so let's look in the case book on page 9 at 136C. F9 catches a fly ball with a first baseman's mitt. While leaving the playing field after the third out, the coach of Team B detects this, ruling there is not a distinction between a glove or mitt. Therefore, the catch is legal. Gloves and mitts that meet the maximum specifications are legal. I don't know how you can be more clear than that. There's no distinction between a glove and a mitt. One thing I will, going back up to the pitcher's glove, a multicolored glove is legal. He can have every color of the rainbow on there as long as he doesn't have white or gray on it. It's legal. The only thing is just can't be white or gray. And it says, and it's not determined to be distracting. You are the sole decider of what is distracting. If he's got a rainbow glove and there's that's distracting me. Well, buddy, you need to learn what to pay attention to, because that little white thing he's throwing at you is what you ought to be looking at, not the glove. They're just trying to mess with the catcher, and I'm not going to play that game. Now, the glove mitt worn by the pitcher that includes the colors white or gray shall be removed from the game upon discovery. So that's the only penalty. It doesn't negate. Let's say pitcher got a ground into a double play. The opposing coach comes out and says, "Hey, his glove has white on it." Well, he might be trying to get you to say, "Well, then we're going to undo the double play." No, sorry, Charlie. The only penalty for a pitcher having white or gray on his glove is remove it from the game. You just tell him, "Hey, got to get a new glove." It doesn't undo any outs. It doesn't do anything else. There is nothing other than just swap it out, which is why I always tell them, don't let it get in your head. You've got white on your glove. You can't use it. I will. I mean, there are some that won't, but if I look out there and he's got a lot of white or gray on it, not just the piping, it's an illegal glove, I'll try to say something during warm-ups before the game. Just say, "Hey, you got another glove? That one's illegal for pitching. It's not a big deal. Just go swap it out." And that way you avoid the problem, just a little preventive umpiring. But that's if it's got legitimate white or gray on it, not just the piping. If it's just piping, I'm leaving that alone. All right, Article 7. Loose equipment such as gloves, bats, helmets, or catcher's gear of either team may not be on or near the field. Okay, so what is the penalty? Basically, we're not going to do anything about it other than, if we see it, we're going to tell them, "Hey, pick it up, put it in the dugout," But if loose equipment interferes with play, right, that's the key. Looking at the penalty under Rule 137. So, if loose equipment interferes with play, the umpire may call outs, award bases, or return runners based on the umpire's judgment and the circumstances concerning the play. So, what's going to dictate what we do? Well, I'm not going to, if the ball's rolling over towards the dugout of the offensive team, and there's shin guards left out of the dugout, and they hit the shin guards, and the shin guards prevent the ball from going into the dugout, I am not going to award bases and to benefit the team that left their toys out. So in that case, I might call an out, or I might do nothing, because if it bounces and goes towards the fielder that's trying to get it, it benefited him, But so I'm always going to err to the benefit of the non-offending team. If it's rolling over there and towards the defensive team's side, and they've left something out of the dugout, which could include a donut. If they're on defense, they're not supposed to leave their donuts out there and all that stuff. Then I'm going to call it against them. So err on the side of, to the benefit of the non-offending team. Don't reward a team for not doing what they were supposed to. So let's look on page 10 in our case.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, for some reason my name is coming up, name not available. I don't know how to change
not available.
Right. Veronica Geyer from Delaware. You mentioned that if it's, the shin guards get in the way, then you might call an out. But who would you call out? Would it be the runner that the fielder might have a chance of getting out, like the one closest to third base or something, or whatever side of the field it's on? How would you determine that?
Let's again look at the penalty. It says if loose equipment interferes with play, the umpire may call an out or outs. It has the option of an S there. Award bases or return runners based on the umpire's judgment and the circumstances concerning the play. Mm-hmm. Basically, you get to do whatever you darn well please to spank the naughty kids who left their stuff out.
Okay.
I mean, it's entirely up to your discretion. You get to do whatever you want. You can call an out. You can call multiple outs. You can award runners, or you can make them go back.
But an out would mean somebody would have to get off the base, right? Or
well, yeah. I mean, if you call an out, somebody's got to be out. I mean,
right.
if logically, you really have two options here. If you know who they were trying to make the play on, if there's only one runner, then
right.
Obviously you know who's going to be out.
Yeah.
If they were going to be making a play on a runner nearby, then you would get that runner. You might get the runner closest to scoring. You might just do whatever you want.
And just offhand, do you know if that's the same rule in OBR, Major League Rules?
Not off the top of my head to the extent that I want to swear to it. I could find out pretty quickly. I'm not going to while we're on this call, but I'll be happy to, follow up with you on that one.
All right, thanks.
But, again, you're not constrained by anything other than your judgment based on the circumstances concerning the play. You can do whatever you think undoes the fact that they left equipment out of the dugout. And again, I'm never going to let it benefit the team who left their equipment out.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So I don't think we got to that case play on page 10. 137A. The ball gets by F5 and is prevented from entering the dugout by a shin guard left on the field by the defense. Ruling: the plate umpire, based on the circumstances of the play, judges that the ball would have entered the dead ball area had it not been for the shin guard left outside of the dugout. The umpire awards R2 home and B3 second base. So, going to make a base award since it was the defense who left something out of the dugout. If that had been the offense, they ain't going nowhere. I might call time and make everybody go back to where they were at the time of the pitch, or unless they were forced, which again is something you can do. You get to do whatever you want. All right, flipping a page. We're now on page 14, talking about uniforms.
Hey, Bill, you've got something in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Something in the chat. This is a scenario where a runner's helmet accidentally fell off while advancing bases and interfered with a batted ball. Bunch of different scenario. Accidentally fell off versus purposely fell off, etc. Yeah, I have not seen that particular post, Chad. You made a point to specify that it accidentally fell off. So it wasn't removed, it just fell off. There's not a rule talking about,
Yeah, so
falling
that
off.
so that post was talking about, say, R1 advancing to second, batted ball, second baseman goes to field the baseball to make a play on the ball, and the ball rolls into the helmet that fell off the runner. Seems to kind of fall within what we're talking about here about, loose equipment on or near the field.
No, that would not apply. Loose equipment is talking about leaving equipment. This was an active runner whose helmet fell off while he was running the bases. So this rule would not apply to that. It was not left out; it just fell out.
That would be treated the same as a bat after you dropped it down and a thrown ball hits it. It becomes part of the field.
Yeah, since it is a thrown ball and not a batted ball, it's just nothing. Sorry about your luck. All right, to uniforms. If the pitcher's undershirt sleeves are exposed, the sleeves shall not be white or gray. Compression sleeves that are solid black or solid dark color shall be the only colors allowed to be worn by the pitcher below the elbow. The pitcher shall not wear any items on the hands, wrist, or arms which may be distracting to the batter. Pitcher shall not wear white or gray exposed undershirt sleeves or any white or gray sleeve that extends below the elbow. So let's go to the casebook, page 10. Let's look at 142B. Team A wears its Gray Road traditional sleeve jerseys. The sleeves of the jersey extend below the pitcher's elbow. Ruling, this is an illegal jersey for the pitcher. So, you've got your regular uniform, and then, pitchers may want to wear a sleeve on their throwing arm. Note that in high school baseball, they can wear a sleeve on only one arm. Other codes, they must have it on, if they're going to wear a sleeve, they have to wear it on both arms. That rule does not apply in high school. All right, so, but nothing on a pitcher can ever be white or gray below the elbow. Doesn't matter if it's their regular uniform top, doesn't matter if it's an undershirt, nothing can ever be white or gray below the elbow. If he's got exposed undershirt sleeves, they can't be white or gray. So, he may have to roll them up and tuck them up underneath. Again, most of our games are played when it's cold, but towards the end of the season, you'll get into some warm weather, and maybe they're wearing a vest with undershirts underneath it. Hopefully, they're not dumb enough to wear white undershirts underneath, because the pitcher would have to go out there basically in a wife beater. But the key is, again, pitchers can't have white or gray on their glove or below the elbow. All right. Each player, Article 3, each player shall be numbered on the back of the shirt.
Hey, Bill, will you advance the slide one, please?
Oh, my bad. Yep. Somebody always has to remind me of that. There we go. All right. So, they can't come out there and have a shirt with no numbers on it. The next part of that, at the end of that paragraph, no players on the same team shall wear identical numbers. All right. So they can't come out there and go, hey, yeah, I got 2 number 3s today. I got this one's going to. No, you don't, coach. You've got 1 number 3. Which one do you want to play? You can sub them in and out, but they can't be in the game at the same time. Or, you can take you some white tape and make one of them a 13 or a 31. Hopefully you don't have one of those numbers already. But they cannot have two players with the same number, and they have to have numbers. All right. Down at the bottom, I've just got a note, but I don't have anything highlighted on that. It just says jackets on bases. So this comes up a lot where people, guys want to wear a jacket when they get on base because it's, we're playing when it's 38 degrees outside and the wind's blowing and it's really too cold to be out there, but there we are. So let's look at 144 situation A on page 10 of your casebook. Situation B, players other than the pitcher request to wear a jacket over their uniform while on base. Ruling, if players other than the pitcher request a jacket while running the bases, the request shall be denied. Jackets are also prohibited on defense. So they can't wear a jacket on defense at all by anybody. The only player who can wear a jacket while running the bases, not while he's at bat, but while he's running the bases, is the pitcher. Now, I want to stress that that's the only person who is allowed to wear it over his uniform. If they are, if they want to wear a jacket or something underneath their uniform, knock yourself out. We're only talking about wearing a jacket over their uniform. Let's see. See, in the situation, players other than the pitcher request to wear a jacket over their uniforms while on base. They can wear it underneath, but they can't wear it over. And they can wear it underneath the whole game on defense or wear it underneath the whole game, whether they're on defense or offense, or while they're at bat. That's just, to keep them warm. All right. Section 5, Article 1. It is mandatory for on-deck batters, runners, retired runners, players, students in the coaches' box, as well as non-adult bat and ball shaggers to wear a batting helmet that is non-glare, with a non-glare surface and meets the NFHS standard at the time of manufacture. Batting helmet shall have extended ear flaps to cover both ears and temples and also display the NFHS stamp and the exterior warning statement. So pretty much the only person who can be out there without a helmet on is an adult base coach or one of your 9 players, 8 of your 9 players on defense, because the catcher also has to wear a helmet with, double ear flaps. So anybody else has to have a batting helmet on. I will point out, because this comes up, we have to, if you have a bullpen area that is on the field, then they have to have a protector down there. If they have a protector, he is required to have a glove, but he is not required to have a helmet because he has a glove and he's way down there. So just like the pitcher and the catcher, the catcher has to have his on anyway. But the right fielder or left fielder doesn't have to have a helmet on, so the protector who is standing about the same distance from the plate as them also does not have to have a helmet. But when the ball is live, any base coaches that are students, non-adult, all your runners, your batter, and any bat or ball shaggers, they have to have a helmet on even if the ball is not live. All right, so what do we do if they don't? So the penalty, when an umpire observes anyone who is required to wear a batting helmet deliberately remove the batting helmet, that goes back to your scenario earlier about the helmet that fell off. This says deliberately remove the batting helmet while in live ball territory and the ball is live. The umpire shall issue a warning to the coach of the involved team unless the ball becomes dead, being touched, or goes into dead ball area. A subsequent violation of the rule shall result in ejection. All right, so this is again game management. Don't be a jerk. Be nice, be polite, say please, say thank you, speak to people with respect. When a kid takes his helmet off, let's say he got thrown out at first, he's going back to the dugout, and he's in the first base dugout, and he's halfway between the foul line and the dugout, and he takes his helmet off as he's walking back in. The next batter's not even in the box yet. There's nothing going on. Don't yell at him for taking his helmet off. Don't issue a warning for that. Just talk to his base coach and say, hey, I know he's bummed, but, remind him he's got to keep his helmet on until he gets in the dugout. That's all you got to do. Let's don't go out there and look for problems. Problems will find you. If he's coming from the third base dugout over to first, and you tell him, hey, buddy, do me a favor and put your helmet back on, and he smarts off to you or something, that's a whole different story. But don't be the one that starts off at nuclear option. So let's look on pages 11 and 12 at 151 B, C, E, and F. In B, or 151 situation B, in A, after hitting a home run, B4 removes the helmet upon touching second base. All right. There is no penalty because the ball is dead. It was a home run. All right. He took his helmet off. The ball is dead. There's no penalty because remember, the rule says when the ball is live. He's not a ball shagger. He's a runner. So the ball is, he doesn't have to wear it unless the ball is live. The ball is not live because it went over the fence. All right, so situation C. Between innings, the umpire notices that a player in the coach's box, not an adult, is not wearing a batting helmet. The umpire shall have the player wear a batting helmet immediately. There's no penalty since the ball was dead. If the ball had been live, the umpire would have issued a team warning to the coach of the involved team member. Subsequent players who may violate the rule while the ball is live shall be ejected. So again, if you don't have to go, all the way to warning and disciplining people, always try to get cooperation with the other team and let's work together. Usually that will happen if you are talking to coaches. Usually, not always. All right, E. Batters, runners, on-deck batters, players, students who occupy coach's box, and retired runners are required to keep their helmets on in live ball area while the ball is live. Non-adult bat ball shaggers are required to wear a batting helmet whenever in live ball area, even if the ball is dead. All right, and F. All helmets shall. All right, this is a good one. Visiting team wants to use a non-adult bat ball shagger, but does not have any helmets for them. The coach secures a couple of helmets from the team's equipment. The helmets are noticeably incorrect in size, but the coach claims some protection is better than none, and that these helmets meet the intent of the rule. He is wrong. In fact, that's what it says. Ruling. The coach is incorrect. All helmets should fit reasonably well. Unless the coach can secure helmets that fit, the helmets shall not be worn, and the bat ball shaggers are prohibited from being in the live ball area. So I see this periodically where you've got a really big kid and the helmet doesn't fit him. It just like sits on top like a yarmulke and doesn't even come down to cover his ears. That's not legal, and that's a safety issue. So this is something that will have to be addressed. And you say, look, you got to have a helmet that fits, or you got to pull it on down. And if they can't, then I'm sorry, but you can't play. Because heaven forbid that kid gets hit in the head. Guess who is getting sued? Well, everybody's getting sued, but guess who's going to lose? You are. All right, we are running out of time. Article 4, eye shields shall not be attached to the catcher's mask after manufacture. Eye shields are, they have to be clear, can't have any tint. Any helmet or helmet mask combination shall have full ear protection with dual ear flaps. You will run into some catchers that will come out and try to test you every single game, and they know it's illegal. They'll want to wear the skull cap with the two-piece skull cap and mask combination instead of the hockey style with double ear flaps. And you just gotta pay attention to it. I mean, the guy's going to be, if you're on the plate, the guy's going to be 12 inches from you. You should notice that. But it is illegal. Don't let him come out there with it. So the penalty is failure by a player to wear proper equipment after being so ordered by the umpire shall result in ejection. So, you tell him, hey, you've got to go get a proper helmet. If he refuses, okay, well, then don't get a proper helmet. Go to the bus and let me get a different catcher. So let's look at 154C on page 12. Until a player playing catch with the pitcher or other player or substitute assumes a crouch position, the player is not required to wear protective equipment no matter how hard the pitcher throws. So if you've got a guy warming up, I mean, it could be a catcher, it might not be a catcher, warming somebody up, if they squat, they have to be wearing a helmet with mask and throat guard and a cup. I can see the helmet. I'm not checking the cup. I might ask, but if they don't have it, all you got to do is tell them, hey, look, you can warm them up. You just can't squat. Just stand up, and y'all can go. If you want to squat, you got to get your equipment on, and that's usually all it takes. All right, Article 7. If a ball is touched with an illegal glove or mitt that is discovered by the umpire, the coach or captain of that team at bat has the choice of taking the result of the play or having the award. The illegal glove or mitt must be replaced immediately. A foul fly caught with an illegal glove or mitt shall be nullified and treated as a foul ball unless the team at bat elects to take the result of the play. There are 4 situations in high school baseball where the coach has the option of taking the result of the play or the penalty. There's only 4. You want to know what is not one of those. Anybody want to suggest what is not one of those? Because it's commonly thought that it is. A balk is never in any rule set an option for the coach to take the result of the play. So this is one of them. The penalty for using an illegal glove or mitt. Now remember, this doesn't apply to the pitcher if it's just the color. The penalty is the exact same as detached equipment. So just tie those two together in your mind, and if an illegal glove contacts the ball, it's the same as if it was detached equipment, which would be a 2-base award for a thrown ball, a 3-base award for a batted ball. And if he robbed a home run, then it would be considered a home run. If it would have gone over the fence had it not been caught, then that's a 4-base award. It's just like it would be with detached equipment. Remember, in high school baseball, there is no distinction made between a pitched ball and a thrown ball for the purpose of this rule. So if the pitch is thrown and the catcher is found to be using an illegal mitt, which I don't know that they could, but if they were, then it is a 2-base award because that was a thrown ball. So just tie those two things together in your mind. All right, Article 9, any player equipment judged by the umpire to be unreasonably dangerous is illegal. Two key things there. Judged by the umpire, so it's entirely up to you, and unreasonably dangerous. I am struggling to come up with an example, but it's one of those things, you'll know it when you see it, and it's up to you whether it is considered unreasonably dangerous. The other coach might be complaining and trying to con you into doing that, but is it because it's really unreasonably dangerous, or is it because he's trying to gain an advantage? But anyway, any question regarding legality of a player's equipment shall be resolved by the umpire-in-chief, the plate umpire. All right, jewelry. We're looking at section 6 now. Whoops. That was the section we just finished. I'll leave that up there for a second. As you know, hallelujah, the jewelry rule went away. I think it was last year. So we don't have to deal with that anymore. But let's look at page 14, 1512. Situation B, the pitcher's wearing a wristband on the non-throwing arm with I don't know why I've got that note in there. All right, well, moving on. We don't have to worry about jewelry anymore. Please, whether you like the jewelry rule being gone or not, the rules allow it. So, I mean, unless he goes out there with a hubcap around his neck, just, let it go. Any wristband with defensive shifts are permitted as long as it is a single solid color. For pitchers, it may not contain the colors white or gray or be distracting. It does not have to match the color of the uniform. We talked about that last week, talking about the new rules. We used to just tell them if it had a white card on it to turn it to the inside. No, now the card has to either be colored red, yellow, green, whatever, just not white or gray, or it can be white if it has a flap over it. But that does not have to. If their colors are red, white, and blue, and they've got a black armband, it does not have to match the color of their uniform. But they cannot wear it on their pitching arm. It has to be on the non-pitching arm. Remember, this falls under player communication equipment, where the rule is that you give them one warning, they're not restricted, and then if there's another violation, the head coach is ejected along with the offending player. And then we have Article 2. We have one-way electronic communication can only come from the dugout and go to the catcher. So that's verbal communication. You cannot have verbal communication with any other player. The umpire shall issue a team warning to the coach of the team involved, and the next offenders of that team will be ejected along with the head coach. Again, not restricted. So, all right, that is it for Rule 1. I guess my concerns about whether or not I needed to go into Rule 2 if I finished early were unfounded, because it's 8:29. Does anybody have any questions that you would like to discuss? All right.
Hey, Bill, I got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Dan from Tennessee. So the sliding mitts that they tuck in their back pockets, is that considered part of the uniform? And if it gets hit, it's a hit by pitch?
It is part of the uniform, and that is something that we are going to cover next week in Rule 2, or in the next session. Whether we get to it next week or the week after, I don't know. I've got a feeling Rule 2 is going to take 2 weeks. Rule 2, in my opinion, is the most useful section of the rule book, but it is the one that gets overlooked the most. To answer your question, the sliding mitt, whether it be in their back pocket or on their hand, when they're at bat, they can't wear that because it doesn't bend. They can't grip the bat. So the back pocket is the proper position for that while they're at bat. And there is a ruling that came out specifically clarifying that if they are hit by a pitch with their sliding mitt in their back pocket, then it's considered a hit by pitch.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
you had a comment. What's your judgment on eye black on the player's face?
All right. Well, so the rule simply says the NFHS rule simply says that it cannot be profane, derogatory, or offensive. So you can't have writing on it that says something, profane, derogatory, or offensive. That's what the NFHS rule says. They came out with a a point of emphasis last year about that, but yet the rule wasn't, there's not a direct rule talking about eye black. That rule, it applies to everything in the game. You can't have anything profane, offensive, or whatever the other one was. Anyway, however, several states decided to take a step beyond that and put a policy in place. It's not a rule. It is not an NFHS rule. It is a policy that for their sanctioned games in their state, how they want it handled. And it varies from state to state because it's a state policy. It is not a rule. It's a policy. Remember that policy will only apply to sanctioned games in that state. So if you have, I'll use the example of perfect game. If you have a perfect game tournament which uses federation rules, it uses the rules that are in the book. Even if it's in that state that they have a policy, it's not a sanctioned game. So their state policies don't apply. That would any more than a little league policy would apply in a perfect game tournament. So you would go simply by what the rule is in the book, and the rule in the book is just that they can wear as much eye black as they want. They just can't have anything written on it that is profane, offensive, or derogatory. Anybody else? All right.
See you next week. Stay warm. Drive safe.
Dan. All right, I'm going to stop recording, and if any